Ladies and gentlemen, we are back at the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville, Iowa, in the Knoxville Raceway. Pretty windy spring day here in Knoxville. You can see the racetrack. They're out there working on it right now. Welcome back to today's show. As long as the weather plays nice today, fingers crossed, we're gonna have cars out on track for the practice night for the 410 sprint cars here leading into the World of Outlaws weekend in Knoxville, their season opener. We're expecting like between 60 and 70 cars this weekend. Absolutely unreal stuff. I would say, aside from the big crown jewel races, this will be one of the toughest weekends on our entire 2025 schedule. And so I'm really glad to be a part of it and glad to get to run the Tarlton 21 out here. Really appreciate those guys towing, thousands of miles from the West Coast out this way so we can run for a few weeks. I always tell every fan that I encounter, my favorite place in all of dirt racing I've ever been is right here in Knoxville. It's hard to beat the atmosphere. It's hard to beat the Nationals. It's hard to beat the town being built around the track. The track's not just here. Everything is built around it. It's truly amazing. It's hard to take all in, honestly. Really just a great chance for us as a team, Tarlton Motorsports, to make laps in a non-competition setting. It's not like we're on the clock for qualifying or heat race or main event. We're just out there working on making our race car better and seeing what we have with our half-mile package. Is we don't have a lot of that on the West Coast, but I'm confident we're gonna roll out of the box good. And here in the next few hours, more teams are gonna be rolling into town. Tarlton, they'll be showing up, and then eventually we'll make our way to the infield. We'll be getting suited up, and we'll be getting tonight underway to kind of prepare for, like I said, the World of Outlaws to be in town this weekend. Now, before my guys showed up, I did take a moment to head down to the grand opening of the Dennis Olivaw Suite in turns 1 and 2 at the Knoxville Raceway. So many people were in attendance, and it was just really special to be a part of them adding to this historic facility. Well, you can see the pit area starting to fill up here. Practice laps at Knoxville are so valuable. You don't really get a lot of opportunities, especially a lot of these traveling teams, they have such an intense schedule. They can't necessarily stop in and run weekly shows. So their only opportunity is when you're in town, with the Outlaws, or, if you actually rent the racetrack on a private day. So here in just a little bit, we're gonna be getting all suited up. A colder front is starting to kind of roll in. You can feel the wind is picked up a little bit. It almost feels like it could rain at any second. Right now, it's still showing that it should pass and we should get an opportunity to practice. I hope, though, maybe soon, maybe they kind of start speeding the show up so we can get out on track and make sure we get our practice session in. It'd probably be nice for everyone involved. Like I said, of course, us as teams and drivers, but even then, this track's been sitting all winter. It's probably a little bit wet. It'd be nice for us to get out there, kind of roll it in, kind of pack it before we actually have our racing start for Friday and Saturday. Here is a nice up close look though at the track. You can see they put quite a bit of water on it. It's probably got quite a bit of moisture on it, but you can tell, they've really been rolling it in, just trying to get things kind of ready for us to get out there. So super excited. Here in just a little bit, we'll be getting suited up, getting the 21 car all fired up, and then be out on track to get our first session underway. So we decided to head out for one of the early sessions. The racetrack was extremely greasy, but there wasn't a lot of teams that were eager to get in line and go out there and burn it in. So we thought, if we don't go out there and guys and teams don't get this racetrack in good shape, then we're not gonna have a good surface to practice on through the evening. So heading out, probably about 3/4 throttle for all of these laps. On a half mile, you actually can run the car still hard in the grease just because you have so much wing speed, which creates grip. But still, you're not necessarily learning anything here. We're just out there kind of burning the racetrack in. One thing I will say that I try to take away from this, since it was my first laps on a big racetrack like Knoxville all season, just working on my hand movements. You really want to be smooth here, and even looking at how I am on the wheel. And it's a little harder in the grease, but trying to just, be super smooth with it, elbows tucked, really letting the car drive around the racetrack like it wants to drive around the racetrack, and you're just kind of trying to guide it low, high, and moving around to create a smooth line. So at 3/4 throttle, it slows it down a little bit, and you definitely are more conscious of being able to be smooth and work on that. So it helped us for our laps, here later in the evening. Well, it felt good to get out there around Knoxville Raceway and complete our first laps of the day. Got session number 1 in, which was basically just burning the racetrack in. We kind of strapped in early because there wasn't too many cars excited to go out there. And we figured, you know, one of those situations, if guys aren't getting in line, we're gonna have a pretty hooked up track all night. So now it's finally just starting to burn in. Hopped out, obviously didn't learn anything from that. Hopped right back in for session number 2, and racetrack was up to speed. So kind of in the low 15-second bracket. Our car was all right. I, you know, felt like I was able to just get out there and, you know, like I said, wide open, kind of just about 1.5 lanes off the bottom. Found out pretty quickly that I think we're just a little bit tight getting in the corner. So main thing is if you can't enter the corner, especially at a place like Knoxville, you're not carrying the speed to literally finish the corner. You almost have to turn multiple times, and it's very minimal. Like, you just notice it if you watch the onboard, or you kind of notice a driver's hands. You can see where they're placed as they're going through entry, center, and exit. And for me, I just was kind of leading with my, you know, my right hand was up above my left hand, you know, as I was just needing to put a little too much input, I think, getting in the corner. So we're just a little snug, and then once the car kind of breaks free, it's slight, but it just almost like spins then center off, because it's almost like the car has to try so hard to turn. So like I said, a place like Knoxville, it comes down to literally this much. We talk about that all the time, and that's how sprint car racing is, but Knoxville and these half miles, it really is crucial. Your car's got to be on point, otherwise as a driver, you just can't make up as much for it. So we're gonna head back out, make some pretty big changes now. That's what practice night is for, to take big swings and try to head in the right direction. So another session down here on practice night. Man, these are the fastest 410 guys in the nation. Everyone is just trying to get one step better every time they hit the track. Surface still has quite a bit of grip. The bottom's kind of working in, which is nice, because, you know, out of all things to do in sprint car racing, running the bottom at Knoxville is one of the toughest things as a driver to hit lap after lap. Right now, obviously, there's a lot of grip, but when it gets slick, when this place gets wide, and it's about that wide on the bottom, and you have to get your left front or get your left rear down there, it's a difficult task. So we're just working on our race car. We picked up, I think, about 2/10, so we're like a mid 15-second lap instead of, like, I think we were 15.7, 15.8, and then I think we were a 5 there. So we definitely made some positive changes. You know, my laps, though, still didn't, like, I know there's definitely plenty of room for improvement, so we just got to keep working on our race car. Our first session, I talked about being tight getting in, felt like we rotated better there. Now it just seems like we're not completing the corner center off. I think if our car could just stay stuck and just rotate a little bit more without me having to do as much rotating, like if I could just guide it, and especially coming off the bottom, man, we could gain quite a bit of time. So we're gonna work on that. These sessions are super valuable, so I'm gonna get back in and we're gonna go out there and just continue to, like I said, just get a little bit faster. Track's got plenty of grip, so we'll just work on running each lane, and like I said, trying to see if we can find a little bit more time. Now this is one of our final sessions on the racetrack. As you can see, the bottom has been the preferred line. There's just so much grip down there, and you can really run it hard around the berm. One of the trickiest things to do in sprint car racing, but these laps were valuable for us to continue to work on our race car and get multiple sessions at the end of the night. 21 rig is all loaded up. Our test day is done. I think everyone's gonna be kind of rushing out of the pits here quick because they're calling for rain. We got the test session in, which was nice. Figured walking over this way, kind of towards the front stretch. There's a look at the Knoxville Victory Lane. It's a special place, man. Definitely have it on the bucket list. Whether it's a weekly show, nationals, doesn't matter. I think it's pretty special to get to have your car parked and get interviewed up on that stage. Just walking out here, you can almost still hear it on your feet. Knoxville definitely had some grip tonight. They've been already starting to work this area of the track. I think the grader is down that direction. Most of the field later in the night was all running the bottom half of the racetrack once that got worked in. And you could run it super hard just because there's still a ton of grip. Really glad that we got today instead of just unloading and rolling out for hot laps and qualifying. With as big of a field as we're gonna have, if you're off a little bit, it's gonna show in lap time. I mean, we talk about how at half miles, your car has to be on point. It's gotta be working well with the driver. And the word I like to use is guide. Around a place like this, especially early in the night, or most of what our track looked like today for test session, when there's grip, you're really just trying to guide the car. You're letting it go where it wants and just making a smooth, clean lap, and your foot is to the floor. Now with the 21 car, I feel like we made it better as the night went. Our lap times got faster, and I thought we finally started to run the bottom better at the end. Like our car was kind of staying left and it was completing the corner. We were kind of talking as a team, like test days can be one way or the other. They can almost mess you up sometimes, or like I said, you just have to use them as just basically by itself a chance to go out there, run laps, and then after pull a tear off, move on to the next. Because like we could look at our lap times today and we weren't really necessarily, I mean, we weren't far off, but we weren't necessarily in the top 10 or the top 5. So it'd be easy to look at that and be like, man, like we got our work cut out for us. But I feel like I said, we made changes, the car reacted, and now tomorrow it's just important to unload, you qualify well, and then after that you're in complete race conditions. You know, when you're testing as the track's changing, you're running laps by yourself, but the rest of the weekend, you know, besides qualifying, you're gonna be around other cars and you're gonna be in race mode. And if you're new to dirt racing on a big racetrack like this with dirty air and being around other cars, race trim and qualifying trim are two different things. So anyway, felt good to be back at the sprint car capital of the world. That's just a treat in itself to run laps around this place, and glad to do it in the Tarlton 21. So we're gonna roll back. We gotta grab the t-shirt trailer, the rental car, all that stuff. I think the rig's pulling out now. We're gonna be heading back to the hotel. Now with it being late, we had to get a bite to eat as we were leaving town. As many of you know, there's not much open past 9 p.m. in Knoxville. So we just got stuck, life on the road, McDonald's for dinner. Now, after that, heading over to Pella, Iowa, we had a nice little show from our rig as it was lighting up the sky. So just got to the hotel here. Want to thank you guys so much for watching. It's just about to storm. I can see it in the distance, and a few raindrops are coming down. Appreciate your guys' support. 2025 has been one of the most fun seasons so far of my career. Glad to have these guys out here in the Midwest, and again, just happy that we got a practice night in, and that's why I wanted to bring you along, for it. In my opinion, just exactly what we needed for myself as a driver to get out there, feel comfortable. Now we're ready to roll into the weekend, and we got a chance to run a few different setups and work on the 21 car. So now when we unload tomorrow, like I said, it's just the best, hot lap well, and then the best 2 laps on the clock to set ourselves up. Wow, check that out in the background. Set ourselves up for the rest of the night. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for hanging out with us for an evening of going fast. Deuces.